Hello and greetings. I hope you're doing well. I am Carol McQuarrie. I wanted to record this video on how to read food labels. Yes, how to read food labels. A lot of people actually don't know what they're looking for when they're reading food labels. And so I thought I would just make a series of 2 videos to walk people through how to read food labels. So here goes. So maybe at this time, it might be a good opportunity for you to pause the video and run and grab any food item you have in your house. Yes, cereal, chocolate, any type of snack, or just bring it along so that you can follow along as you go through this video with me. So I cut off the labels, the food labels on 2 cereals I had here at my house. One of them was Post Raisin Bran, and the other one also Post was Honey Bunches of Oats. My family loves Honey Bunches of Oats. We don't usually buy Raisin Bran, but we had it in the house. So I had to reconstruct one because it was obviously in the trash by the time I came running to get it. So let's look over the one for Raisin Bran first. So at the top of all food labels, it says nutrition facts. So these are the facts about this particular food. Under nutrition facts, it says about 25 servings per container, which means ideally this box of cereal or container for whatever food, packaging for whatever food you're about to consume actually has, this one in particular has 25 servings in it. Now, interesting, isn't it? Because I doubt a box of cereal ever serves 25 people. Okay, so just a tip there. Not all the time should you be looking at just the serving size. So that's the next thing, the serving size. If you can see it here, it says serving size. This one says serving size 1 cup. 1 cup or 57 grams. Some people actually weigh their food. I don't recommend it because it's hard to keep up with, but this is 1 cup. 1 cup you could probably get used to getting a sense of what that looks like. And that's the first tip I'm going to give you, or maybe second tip. The second tip I'm going to give you. Have a sense in your mind of how much is 1 cup, how much is half cup, how much is quarter cup, how much is 1 ounce. If you have a sense of that in your mind, you could really just guesstimate a lot of your food servings. Okay, so look, I brought a couple of serving serving containers here, and I wanted to show you this because this one is 1 cup. So imagine your Raisin Bran filling up 1 cup of this. And I would say rarely do I eat that little of Raisin Bran or any cereal that I eat. Usually I'm having about 2 to 3 cups of cereal when we really look at it from a measurement point of view. So this actually is the size of 1 cup of food. Okay? So whether you're measuring flour or you're measuring cereal, this is 1 cup. So that's the tip I was hoping you would catch. You're not always eating 1 serving of a food, and having that in mind will really help you when you're reading food labels and considering eating certain foods. Another measure is half cup, this one. So this is about half cup of a food serving. Not much, is it, right? And doubtfully you'll ever be eating half cup of cereal unless you're really not looking to fill yourself up with that as a meal. All right, so this is about a half cup serving. So back to the label. So it says serving size 1 cup. So what this means is everything else under that serving size statement will be the amount that is in each serving of that food. Okay? So for instance, calories, 180 calories. So in 1 cup, which I just showed you, which I just said to you, you're probably eating more than 1 cup of this particular cereal, is 180 calories. I'm not one to count calories either, but if you are counting calories, if you're eating 2 servings of it, obviously it's not going to be 180 calories, right? So just remember that the amounts listed here are for 1 serving only. Okay. Next, total fat is listed next, if you could see that. And please follow along with your own food label. The total fat in this Raisin Bran cereal actually is 1 gram, which is pretty good. I try to stay about anything less than 5 to 8 grams of fat for a single food item. Okay? And then saturated fat is listed next, and that's 0 grams. So this appears to be it is a very low fat cereal. Saturated fat, though, is the fat that you want to look out for, because this is the really bad fat. You don't want, I call it sat fat. Okay? You don't want your sat fat to be an extremely large number. As a matter of fact, the closer to 0 it is, the better. It's really not good for your arteries at all. Okay, I call them artery clogging fats because they are. Okay, and you don't want a lot of saturated fat in your foods. Then they list all the other fats, trans fats. That's another really bad one. And for the most part in the US, most foods are no longer including trans fats, most processed foods. So that's a good thing here in the US. As much as possible, you want to avoid the trans fats as well. Polyunsaturated fat is also 0 grams. Monounsaturated fat is also 0 grams. But like I said, pay attention to the saturated fat content, not so much the others. And also make sure your food has no trans fats in it. And like I said, in the US, that's pretty standard in this day. Okay. Next, the next highlighted one, there's fat, and then there's all these subtypes of fats. And then the next one that is highlighted is cholesterol. This food also has 0 milligrams of cholesterol. Okay, so if you're dealing with high cholesterol or borderline high cholesterol, you would want to watch out for that number. Then there's the sodium. This has 240 milligrams of sodium. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to, gets blurry as it gets closer. But this has 240 milligrams of sodium. Now, sodium obviously is salt. Salt, bad for you. Okay, so you do want to watch your salt levels. 240 milligrams is not a lot, but it's also close to being high, in that I would say if you stick to about 1,600 milligrams of salt per day, you're good. Beyond that, you're going way up there, too high on the sodium. So I say that to mention this. When you look at a food label and you see 240 milligrams of sodium, don't just say, oh, that's low compared to the 1,600 I should have in a day. Think about it in terms of all the things you will eat in that day. Okay? If you consume a lot of processed foods, they're probably very high in sodium, so they add up as you go along the day. And this is a breakfast food. So if you're having 2 servings of this, you're having 480 milligrams in just your breakfast. That's about 1/3 of the sodium you should have in a day. Okay, so just be careful. I always try to stay around 150 milligrams per serving or less in the foods that I eat, only because it really adds up and adds up really quickly. You would be surprised. If you pay attention to the sodium on your food, you probably will gasp at some of these food items and how much salt and sodium is actually in them. Okay? And then the next highlighted one is your total carbohydrates, right? And there's a subset of that: dietary fiber, soluble fiber, insoluble fiber. So total carbs are 45 grams. Dietary fiber on this is 8 grams. Soluble fiber is 1 gram, and insoluble fiber is 7 grams. So dietary fiber obviously is very good for you. You want to get as much fiber as possible. And at 8 grams, that's pretty good for 1 serving of cereal. That's a lot of fiber in one go. Typically, you're not getting that much in any one food item. And then, of course, the soluble fiber is important, and the insoluble fiber as well. The other highlighted, well, not highlighted, but under carbs as well, is the total sugars. This has in 1 serving 17 grams of sugar. Yes, 17 grams of sugar. And we'll talk in the next episode about sugar and how much you should actually have in a day. Okay? At 17 grams of sugar, this is high for 1 serving. That's why I said pay attention that all of the numbers on here is for 1 serving. Okay? So if you are consuming 2 to 3 servings of this cereal, you're consuming quite a large amount of sugar. Okay? And again, this is Raisin Bran, Post Raisin Bran, and it's one of those that is very high in sugar, particularly because of the raisins in them. Okay? And then not only do we have total sugar, but under total sugar, we have includes 10 grams of added sugar. I don't know if you could see that here. Okay? Includes 10 grams of added sugar, which means that is the sugar that is added to the food. Okay? So in addition to the natural fiber of the raisins or the wheat, the natural sugar of the wheat or of the raisins themselves, there's 10 grams that the manufacturer actually included in this food per serving. And then there's protein, which is 5 grams. So then I have a really thick black line coming across here. And under here are all your vitamins and minerals. Some are added, some are occurring naturally. So vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, thiamine, your folate, your zinc, all included under this thick line. So I'm going to end this video here. This is part 1 of reading food labels. I hope you learned something. My video is getting too long, but we will have a part 2 and perhaps a part 3 to go over some other really important pieces on reading labels. Be blessed.